this video right here, which is like part 1 before I go into surgery and I tell you why I need my ear fixed and everything. But yeah, I first off hope that you're actually doing pretty well. I hope you're resting, and I hope you had a good week and a good day, and I'm glad to have you here. Me, right now, my ear is actually kind of killing me. I do want to preface this video with just a little bit of some like trigger warnings. I am going to be talking about my surgery. I will be talking about maybe some needles and, being loopy and stuff. So if that isn't for you, I'm not going to be like super, too deep into it. But if that does make you a little just pick a different video on YouTube. There are tons of really great creators for ASMR. So if that's not your thing, no worries. Hopefully I'll see you in another video. But if it is, let's just get into it, shall we? So, yeah, as you can tell, it's this ear right here. Let's just talk about what's in it right now, and then I'll tell you about how it actually went down. So, as you can tell, I kind of have like a cotton ball in my ear right now. They did surgery in my ear canal, and then I also have a band-aid here. So the reason I have a band-aid here is, although the surgery was in here, they had to like graft some skin behind here to put some cartilage in my ear. But yeah, so it hurts, but I've just been on Tylenol, and I'll show you some stuff on my desk right now. So I sleep in this bed. I have like these right here. I don't know if you can see. Every day so far. So today is Monday night. I had my surgery on Friday, and recovery was kind of hard for the last couple days. I'm not gonna lie. I was in a lot of pain. I'm just on Tylenol. I did get a prescription for Oxycontin, but I didn't have any because my parents are over watching me, and they are ortho doctors. And at first, I was definitely frustrated. I wasn't the nicest to them the last couple of days, but I'm finally feeling better. And I know Oxy can be very addictive, so I'm glad. I guess I didn't have it. But so I have those tweezers on here because I don't have the box, but I have cotton balls that I have to swap this out every couple of hours, or like twice a day, and then I use like Vaseline jelly to do that. Yeah, so that's what I was having to do. I have Q-tips and stuff, but okay. I'm tangentiting. So I'm doing okay. And let's just talk about the surgery for Friday. So this is how the day went. So, getting into it. I barely slept. I think I went to bed at like 2 a.m. and then I woke up at 6 a.m. I'm in Massachusetts, and my surgery was at Mass Eye here, Mass General Hospital. And I had to be there at 8:30. And this was my very first surgery. I've never had a surgery before. I don't know if you ever have, but yeah, I was super anxious, a little nervous. A lot of you guys gave me a lot of kind words and a lot of love, and it honestly actually really meant a lot and helped me out a lot. So thank you for that. It really did make a difference, so I'm really appreciative of you. But yeah, so I think I woke up at 6, and you're not allowed to eat after midnight. There was like a couple of things, I don't know if you're at surgery, but someone earlier in the week called me, so I basically went to the hospital like almost every day, just because I needed like a COVID test, or I needed a hearing test and all of that. So yeah, it was a lot. But why am I bringing that up? Well, I guess I was just getting kind of familiar with Mass Eye in here and everything, and all of the testing. But sorry, I kind of lost my train of thought. But anyways, going back into it, that's why. So every day you're doing things, and then like I think midway through the week too, like next day on Wednesday, my surgery was on Friday. They called me. I had to talk to someone, basically discussing, like pre-op, how to prepare for the surgery, and it was interesting. I didn't know if you knew this, but like, they basically were like, okay, they went through your medical charts and everything, any like health history, like any family hereditary problems you might have. I've never been under anesthesia, so they're kind of walking me through that, but it was interesting too. You weren't allowed to have any jewelry, so as you can tell, I actually took my earrings out, which I never do. And you're also not allowed to have any perfume on, so I was wearing my amazing cologne, which I love. And yeah, all jewelry out. I had to wear a comfy clothes, something that I could put my head over, because initially they didn't know if it was just gonna be like this or if I was gonna have like a little bit of like a helmet thing here. And I'll talk about that in a little bit, why they didn't know that. But yeah, so I get there and it was so stupid. My parents were like, not to put like the under you. Well, you guys are really. But my parents were kind of like having a little bit of an argument. I don't know if your family ever does this, but like they were having like a week where they were having arguments. So like they've been married for like 30 years. So they love each other. But like it was like my mom's birthday. I don't know. They were just, and like sometimes you guys are like they're like really clicked up, and then other times they're out of sync. So they've been really out of sync. And my mom took off work on Friday, and my dad was still working. So basically, like, my dad was still sleeping, but my mom basically got in the car and she drove me to the hospital. I thought it was just gonna be us two. And then halfway through to MGH, my dad calls being like, "Where are you guys?" And my mom's like, "What do you mean?" And then he's like, "Did you guys leave for the hospital?" And my mom's like, "Yeah, like you didn't tell us you were coming." And he was just like, of course I'm coming. So we left so early, and then we had to drive all the way back to pick him up. And like, meanwhile, my mom is stressing out. Like, I'm a little bit stressing out about surgery, and like, it's just so my dad. Like, my dad's just like, "Oh yeah, of course I'm coming." Like, super last minute, does like to plan things, and it was fine. We got there in time. And basically, we go up to the S level, so we go in. We check in at the front desk. We go to the S level, which is the surgical level. And Mass sign here. I go in. I go up to the front desk. I have to sign in some paperwork. It's about COVID. Any symptoms, but then there's the scary part too about like, I don't know if you did surgery. I think everyone does this, but you sign away like your rights. So like if you go under, if you're not responsive, who do you give your health priorities to, and so that was a little scary, but I wrote that all down and I gave it away. And then I found out that I was case number 2 out of 5, so my surgeon was having 5 surgeries, and I was number 2, and my surgery was supposed to be at 10:30. I was there at 8:30. Around 9, we were in the waiting room, and at 9, a nurse comes in and calls for me. I go in, and she like opens the doors. I follow her, and I finally see like what the surgical rooms are. They, like you see them in movies, like the curtains with like the beds, and everyone's like, you walk by and everyone's like lying down, everyone's moving around, and she takes me to my section, and she's like, "Okay, here are like the 2 bags, like you're gonna put your clothing and your like accessories in here, change into this robe." Oh, actually, that wasn't the first one. Sorry, so that's the second visit. So the first time, sorry, I'm joking at myself. The first time I get there, she sits me down, and it's the nurse basically like, like a physical. She's like writing everything in the computer, and and this is crazy. They repeat it so many times that they're like, "Okay, what are you doing for your surgery? What's your name? What's your birthday?" And then they're like, "Yeah, so tell me what you're getting done in your own words." And I kept being like, "Well, my left ear, there's a pocket in there, and I think we're going to be removing it, and, hopefully it's going to be exploratory. They're going to be figuring out why my hearing's wrong, all that stuff." And it's funny because I swear to God, every person that came in asked me that. I think like 8 people people ask me that in total. They're like, okay, so what are you doing today? What are we doing? And it got to the point where eventually, before the doctor came in, I was like, wait, what are we doing? Like, am I like crazy? Like, I totally forgot. But I'm jumping at it. It's just so crazy. But yeah, so the nurse, she goes through all that, and then she offers me 3 Tylenol. She says we like to do this, ahead of, so people can it can help with pain management in a couple hours. So I take the Tylenol. Then she basically tells me, she's like, also, so this relates to what I was telling about my mom and dad. I'm having a little bit of fights, right? She's like, okay, just so you know, you can have one person in here with you before you go under, and one person after, but it has to be like the same person or whatever. But you can't have both. And I was like, oh my god. And she's like, or you could have no one. And I was like, okay. So basically I go back to the waiting room, and she's like, we'll call you back in like 30 minutes before your surgery, and just my way hang out. I go back and I basically tell my parents, and I'm like, okay guys, so I'm gonna let you guys decide. I can only have one person in there. Who do you want it to be? And it was funny, like my dad initially was like, my mom. I was like, mom can have it, because my mom cares about all that stuff a little bit more. But yeah. And it was weird though, because right when that happened, well, guess who I ended up choosing to come in? I chose my dad, which I feel bad about, but it all works out in the end, and I'll tell you why. My mom, her and I have like really nice deep talks. I don't know about you, but I'm like really close to my mom, very on a higher spiritual level. Like, we will go to church together, and although I am queer, our psyches are just linked up, and like obviously there are a lot of systematic issues with religion and church, and I don't know how you feel about it, but just from my community and what we've gone through, I know it's a very touchy subject, but I also have this weird sense of like acknowledging how important it is to be spiritual, to have a place to worship, to go to in times of need, and like just being able to tap into that when you need it. So we're very close on that aspect, but in this situation, where you're nervous, where you're like, I hope everything's fine. I didn't want someone sentimental next to me. I wanted someone that was hard rock, someone that was just like, yep, like everything's normal. And that was my dad. My dad is actually, well, he was an anesthesiologist, so it's funny. So I basically bring him in. I give my mom a hug. She was totally sweet, totally fine. I gave her a hug. We came back in, and that's when, this is like 30 minutes before the surgery or whatever, or around like 10, it was around 10:30, she was delayed. But I go in on the bed, back to my section on the bed, there are like some bags, and they're like, put your possessions in your clothing, change into this surgical gown, the hat, socks. I do that, I lie down, they put a heated blanket on me, so nice. And then the nurse comes back in, and I think it was just the same thing. My dad was next to me, and then what's different about this is, so then I stay here until my surgery, so I stay there on the bed, and it's interesting when you're in the gown and stuff, you're like, oh, I'm really doing this. And we're back, and as all my other videos were to Lofi, because my phone, I'm getting a new phone for Christmas and everything, but, or I hope so. But like I was saying, what was I saying? Yeah, so basically what happens in this one, so I'm like lying there, and it feels really weird. Oh, and what's strange is like, I know this is very unique, but I literally felt like I was on a film set. I've never been in that like scenario, like in those gowns and stuff. And I've been on sets where we filmed the doctors, like areas and surgical places, and so it felt like that. So it was really weird for it to be real. But basically, what happens is then the nurse comes in. That's this man. He comes in and he's like, "Hey, I'm the nurse. I'm gonna be putting your IV in." So he comes down. He sits down. He grabs my arm. So he's like, "Where are we doing this?" And I go, "This here, right here." He goes, "Okay, what's your dominant arm?" And I go, "I think right or whatever." He's like, "Okay, we'll do that side because your ear's on this." puts a tether around it, pulls it really tight, and this is funny, like, I've never really had an experience with a nurse before. My ex was a nurse, and this made me have like a big appreciation for him. It was so funny. I couldn't stop thinking about him during this whole process, because the nurse, we all knew what he was doing. He was going to put an IV in me, but he was a storyteller. He was just starting to talk to me and laugh, and we were all laughing about things. I swear to God that we had no idea what we were talking about. We were talking about food, like about like fun restaurants, like nothing no one cares about. But meanwhile, he was doing that. He puts an IV in, and I don't know if you can kind of see the little dot right there. That's where my IV went in, and they basically put an IV in. And an IV, it's basically a needle. I remember I was like holding it over here, and I was just closing my eyes, and he just did it in the first go, which is great. And he puts tape on it, and he's like, "You're good." And it's connected to like a fluid bag, and I put my hand down, and I immediately started feeling like this cold sense coming through my body, and I could tell that's the fluid. And it is uncomfortable. Like, it's not a great feeling, but you get used to it. So I get used to it, and the nurse leaves, and then what happens? And then the anesthesiologist comes in. Like, the nurse, she describes to me all about the anesthesia, like how it's all gonna go down. She walks me through exactly what I'm gonna do. So what they did is, like, they put in a drug. They basically filled me up with a drug first to calm me down. Then they put me into the surgical room, and then I'll explain. And then they really put me under anesthesia. But she talked me through it. She found out my dad was an anesthesiologist, also a Mass Gen. They annoyingly chatted for like 10 minutes. I was so, I don't mean to be mean, but I was like so fed up, because I was like, here I chose my dad as someone to be calm and collected, and like this nurse like wasn't paying attention to me and just my dad, and I was getting really anxious, and it was just annoying. It felt like networking. I got really annoyed, but she leaves. And yeah, my dad was great there. I mean, my dad, he was annoying. He like touched the surgical bag, and he's like, "Hey, that's the company I work for now." I was like, "Dad, I know you know what you're doing here, because like this is used to be your work environment, but like you're freaking me out by touching everything." Eventually, the actual anesthesiologist comes in, and she talks me through what she's gonna do. She talks me through, hey, like, it's kind of fuzzy now, but she talks me like through, hey, we're gonna put medicine into you. When you go in, you're gonna go onto the slab. We're gonna transfer you. We're gonna basically like move everything for you, and then we're gonna put oxygen on your face. We basically want to fill. And I asked why, and then she was like, we basically want, it's and I was like, it's a laughing gas. Like, no, it's just so we can fill your lungs with oxygen, because then we're gonna put a breathing tube down you. But we're gonna do that, and then we're gonna let you know we're gonna put the actual anesthesia through your IV tube. So I didn't realize this was so nice, but once you have your IV in, like, everything goes through there, everything. So like, they're just like, we're doing it, and you're like, okay, and then you start to feel it. But yeah, so she was talking me through that, and then my doctor came in, and by that point, everyone kept asking me what my surgery was. So I saw her, and I was like, hey, like, is this what's going on? And she was like, yeah, like, we're gonna go exploratory. She looked over my hearing test for the week. It was cool. Like, I never seen her in her actual, like, you know, scrubs and stuff, and she saw my patient. I was like, you look good, girl. And she's like, thanks, you do too. And she marked my ear with like my initials, and yeah, and then she's like, I'll see you in there. And I was like, okay, cool. The reason why initially we didn't know about the ear is because it was exploratory. So although it was not invasive, like they were using really little instruments, there was a chance that you have a facial nerve. This, I think that's what's called. This, if it's not, correct me in the comments. It's this nerve that goes like all here, that if you touch or you fuck with it, it will mess up your whole, like your nerves in your whole face, and it's really bad. If for some reason that was like something that they were paying really close attention to, because it's really near the ear bones. If that was gonna be, you know, dangerous and run out, they're gonna have to probably make an incision behind my ear and come through that way. And I had to give them the opportunity to do that. If that was the case, I was gonna end up with one of these things over my ear. Thankfully, they didn't need to do that. But what they did find is that my facial nerve, it's usually most people's are. Mine was actually sitting on my ear bone, which was pretty freaky, but I didn't learn this until after. So, continuing, she leaves. The anesthesiologist comes back in. I think there was more nurses. They like went over again with my case file. I had another nurse double check. I had to sign with my left hand. Very annoying. They were making fun of me for like not signing that great. But overall, everyone was like really nice and friendly, and it was really sweet, like being cared for. You know, like I feel like we're never cared for that much. So it was really nice to be like cared one-on-one like that. You know. But yeah, so the anesthesiologist comes in, and she basically is like, okay, we're gonna give you this drug now. And she gets a syringe, and she like, on my IV, there's like little things you can plug into. She plugged one in, and she pushes it in. And it was funny, like literally 5-10 seconds, I was like, whoa. And she's like, yeah, it kicks in really easily, like fast. And I basically just felt like really relaxed. And then my dad left. They were like, okay, we're gonna go. And they basically just pushed me into the room. The surgical room was like really, really close. I was like surprised how fast we got there. Like they were swinging me around the halls and stuff. And then I got there, and I basically sat on the table. And like I always thought it would be scary. I don't know about you, like I always thought it was gonna be like a surgical room, very sterile. It feels like that, but it wasn't. It was like really bright lights, like it was all lit up. It felt like a classroom almost. And you lie down, and everyone's moving everything, and people were cracking jokes. Like I forget, we were just like laughing about things. I don't know. And then the anesthesiologist was right next to me. She's like, okay, I'm gonna put this over your mouth. And I was just like, just take a deep breath in, deep breath out. And then I think she said, like, I'm giving it to you now or whatever. And then, yeah, and then it was fuzzy. And it's weird because the next thing I kind of remember is like sitting up in bed, and Angela, like this nurse next to me, I became really chatty. I was like very happy. And I was like, oh, I feel weird. And then my doctor was like at the end of my bed she was smiling. She's like, it went really well. I was like, oh my god, that's great. I was like, I feel probably really loopy. She's like, yeah, that's fine. I was like, wait, I have so many questions. And she's like, it's fine, we'll chat another time. And then she left. And I remember sitting there, and I was just like, cool. And then my ears started hurting, and then I kept asking Angela, who was next to me. I was like, oh, can I get like some like pain medication? And she kept like injecting me with drugs, which is crazy. And I felt really loopy, but I felt very aware. It wasn't like I was fogged up. It just was like I knew what I was doing, but I was just like, oh. And what happened, I was in the surgery for 3 hours, and then I was sitting there, and across from me I could see like all the other beds, and there was a guy that came in, and he was like kicking and kind of like all that stuff, and the nurses kind of hold him down as they woke him up, and I saw them wake him up, and I was like, oh, they probably did that for me as well. And so we were just chilling there, and I think the nurse gave me some water, and eventually I stayed there long enough, with enough pain. They gave me like 2 different types of pain medication, and then I think they asked which one I preferred, and the one that really did it for me was fentanyl. I don't know if you ever did that, but they gave me like a huge dose. And then they had another nurse named Nurse Jackie come and bring me to where I was initially, and guess who's there? My mom. So I got there, I like sit out of bed, and I was so like unstable. It was insane. I needed help, but I sat down, and then my mom came, and Jackie and I were having a blast. We were talking about our lives. She's telling me that she just got married. Like, I get really chatty and really happy, I guess. I was really happy and chatty. It's kind of like when I'm on alcohol, but yeah, I was just like learning all about her, having the best time. Then my mom comes in, and I love my mom to death, but like my mood switches. Jackie was like talking about, she was like, oh, if you don't feel good, like we can, get you some Moxie. My mom was like, oh, don't worry, like we can get it, but you'll be on Tylenol. And I swear to God, I literally looked my mom dead in the eye, and I was like, Mom, don't do that. I was like, Mom, you don't know what I'm going through. That's serious. I'm usually a lot nicer. And she was like, Nick, your filter is so off. And she was right. Like, I had no filter. I I was just reacting and just saying intensely what I meant to people, which was kind of fun. My mom was really nice and stuff about it. Like I even was talking about like my sister and stuff, like just not filtered. But my mom, immediately when I get there, my mom just starts, I don't know if you've ever been in surgery before, but you got out, but everyone just immediately tells you what happened. My mom was like, okay, so like, you know, Dr. Quisnell, that's her name, she was like, it went really well, they got rid of like the pocket, like there was no, you know, there was like, it wasn't called a cyst, but there was nothing there, it all looks really good, your facial nerve, she just like smiled, she's like, great, like your facial nerve looks so good, like you're all fine, and they're like, it went really, really well. And I had all these questions, right, because I was like, it was an exploratory, so I was like, you know, did they figure out why my hearing was off, like, you know, all of that, like, what about my pressure, you know, all of that, but from what I could tell, everything went really, really well, so I'm really happy about it, and yeah, I was so happy that, like, so I was sitting there, I got changed, my mom helped me put on my sneakers, and then I sat in a wheelchair, and they wheeled me down to my dad's car, and I got it, and it was dark, and just so you know, and I had apple juice when I was with Jackie, but I basically got there at 8, and I didn't eat anything all day, and it was like 5 p.m, I was so loopy, but I was basically in the car driving home, and we were listening to, like, Coldplay, like, Christmas night or whatever, and I remember I just started crying. I got really emotional because I was just really happy with the surgery. Like, obviously, I was still really woozy, loopy, and I couldn't hear. I still can't hear. I don't know if it actually worked, but, like, just hearing that went really well. You know, it was really emotional for me, and I can still feel it right now, too, because it's like, you know, I waited like 3 years for this, and it was just exciting. And I was really scared for the surgery. It was cool that I'm like alive and, you know, got through it and everything. So yeah, I got home. My sister picked up dinner for us. We were all laughing. And yeah, and then I saw your beautiful comments, and that's when I posted in the community tab, you know, I'm doing better in surgery and all that stuff. So that's what that day was. I didn't eat any food basically, and I went to bed. And then the next day, I'll just do a quick ramble about the next couple days. The next day, I was like still feeling a little bit like on drugs, and so my sleeping patterns were all weird and woozy or whatever. My mom went to CVS to get medication. Basically, every morning and night, I have to do this. It's called ofloxacin or whatever. Ofloxacin. I just put eardrops into my ear to heal it. But yeah, it was just, that first day was good. Saturday, like, I was still woozy. Yesterday was the hardest. I was in a lot of pain, no longer on drugs, just Tylenol. I was so snappy with everyone. And yeah, I've just been trying to get it like through every couple hours. Like, I've just been in a whole alternate universe. My personality's different. Like, I was just like, I am miserable. Like, just get me through this. It wasn't that bad. Like, not miserable. It wasn't like it really hurt. It was just like, I just felt so drained. My body just went through a whole thing, you know. Like, mentally I'm okay, but my body was just so drained. And then today, this is also TMI, but I wasn't supposed to shower for like 3 days. Not supposed to get the sweat. So I finally showered today. Felt good. I can't get the sweat for like 21 days. I'm like covering it. I can't travel. I can't fly for 2 weeks. I can't lift more than 15 pounds for like 2 weeks. What else? I couldn't drive for like 3 days. Yeah, a lot of stuff. But yeah, I'm feeling very grateful. And I have my checkup on December 15th. And then I have another checkup in January. And I've been told it's going to take a while before we know if my hearing is better, but yeah, they got rid of the pocket. She says my ear bones look really good. They weren't detached. They weren't broken. They were just things impeding on it that she got rid of. And yeah, so I'm just very grateful. Back here, they had to take a little bit of cartilage to put in my ear, so we'll see what that looks like. Hopefully it's not too big of a scar. And yeah, so that's kind of what's been happening, and yeah, it's a lot to go through. I don't know if you've ever been in surgery. Let me know if you relate to any of this. I'm also curious to see, like, what was your biggest surprise with surgery? Like, what did you not expect that happened to you, you know, both good and bad? I think my biggest, like, surprise was, it's not a surprise, but it was just, like, how weirdly enjoyable it was. Obviously not the, like, aftermath, not getting the surgery, but, like, going into it, like, it's actually a really talkative experience. Like, it's very social. You're talking to a lot of people, they're really caring for you, and it's very loving. And I forget that, like, my parents told me this too. They're like Nick, a lot of people like go in healthcare, like, they're really just great people that really want to take care of you. And it's funny because, like, I feel like we all believe that, and I felt like I had to believe that, but, like, I always saw doctors kind of, this might sound bad, but, like, as egotistical a little bit, like a superiority complex. And I understand why they're like that, because they really do change people's lives a lot. But a lot of them, it really isn't that. Like, they're all really just great people wanting to help you. And it is interesting, like, how much of a relationship I feel like I have with my doctor too. It's like, she will never know how much she just, like, changed my life, you know? Like, it's emotional thinking about it, you know? Like, it's really a lot, and she does that to so many people, so it's like, I get it. And I'm a huge supporter of her and of everyone that's in that field. And yeah, if you do that, like, kudos to you. I literally sent my ex, which I know you're never really supposed to text your exes, but, well, actually, let me know, do you ever text your ex? I don't know if it's good or bad. I always wished I was someone that was, like, still connected to people I cared about, even if we're not romantically involved. But I texted him. He was the nurse at Mount Sinai in LA, and I basically sent him being like, hey, like, I just went through surgery, and I really, you know, now understand what you do, and, like I was just like, thank you for everything you do, and you're a great person for it, and thank you from, you know, anyone that never tells you thank you. Like, this is me telling you. And it was nice. I think he responded, like, literally 50 minutes after. He was like, thanks Nick so much, like, hope the surgery went well, and all of that. But yeah, so that's my story. I'm still in recovery. Wish me the best of luck. I'll keep you updated on this beautiful year of a thing. And yeah, I guess that's it. And all I'll say to you is, and I keep saying this in, like, all my videos, but be easy on yourself. Allow yourself to heal. That's something I'm trying to tell myself now a lot. Like, obviously physically, if you have something physical, allow yourself to heal, but even that can be emotional too. Like, you can take a lot of big chances to change and become a better person, or, you know, to have a better life or physically feel better. And you could do that in an instant, right? Like, you could do that in a surgery, you could do that in, like, moving, you could do that with new friends, but that's only one step of it. You have to allow time to help enforce it too. And so allow yourself to, you know, give the amount of time needed to let the change be seen. So for me, this happened. I was very emotional about it in a good way, but I'm giving myself time to heal, to not be okay, and to also, you know, give myself months and whatever not to be judging it, you know. Let it feel, and hopefully I'll forget about it, and then in a couple months, maybe even a year, I'll realize the difference, and I hope that's the case. I just don't want to be putting pressure or, you know, anything on the outcome of this, right? It's not necessarily the outcome, but it's the process. So what I'm saying is, be easy to yourself on the process, and allow time to heal you, and trust that time will heal you, because it will. Okay, so if you're still here, I love you. I hope you're resting, and if you like this video, just, like, give it a thumbs up. You know, it helps with YouTube algorithm, with, like, helping our outreach for this channel and helping people who need to see this video see it. And yeah, leave me a comment about if you've had a surgery and what the biggest surprise was for you. And if you haven't already, if you could subscribe and hit the bell notification so you get notified on all my videos coming up. you don't miss it, that would be great. Yeah, I'm just really grateful to have you here, and thank you for sending me all the positive juju for the surgery.